Okay, so this person is saying, I've been called mature my whole life, but I think I was just forced to ignore my own needs early. Okay, let's start off by acknowledging that this is very real for a lot of people. And I feel like a lot of what we call maturity in people is actually just people being convenient in our lives. We tend to confuse maturity with things like being quiet or not asking for too much, or learning how to read a room, which is really just being hyper vigilant and living in fear. And even worse, sometimes you have children who learn how to manage adult emotions, learning how to stay low maintenance that way they don't become a burden to their parents, to their teachers, or to other people. And this may look mature because it looks like the child is independent, but in reality, what's happening is that the child is learning or developing this understanding that their needs are too much, and so that they need to make their needs disappear. So when this happens early on within childhood, your heart gets trained around responsibility before it gets trained around safety. And then your mind will start calling that self neglect wisdom. And then what the world sees and even praises you for is surviving quietly. You're walking around with all these needs going unmet because you buried them. So the issue is not that you're immature, the issue is that some of your maturity may have been built around self abandonment. Real maturity doesn't erase needs, real maturity communicates needs in an effective way. You have to realize that when you force your maturity, you're teaching yourself to function while disconnected from yourself. You're teaching yourself to become dysregulated. Whole maturity teaches you to stay responsible without betraying yourself. So, to correct this thinking, you have to realize that being low maintenance is not the same thing as being whole. Being strong is not the same thing as being healed. Being independent is not the same thing as being free. You were trained to be impressive because being honest and real was not safe. And so you became a child who understood too much, and then you grew up to be somebody who needed too little. You became somebody who can handle everything except being cared for. And so now when you need something, you begin to feel guilt. Or when somebody tries to help you, you feel exposed. Or even something as simple as rest, you start to feel lazy. So an exercise that you can apply for the next week that can really help you backtrack this is to start naming needs that you have every single day. It doesn't even have to be anything complicated. You're not speaking affirmations over yourself, but write down your needs, label them, say them out loud, do whatever you need to do. But it can be something as simple as just saying, I need rest, I need time to think, I need help with this. And if you have people in your life, like a wife, a husband, a friend, whoever, communicate those needs to people. A lot of what helps heal this type of trauma is when you're communicating and you're expressing yourself outwardly. Because the problem is that you're trapped within yourself. And that the only way to break free from that is you have to face fears and you have to become expressive. You have to become honest with yourself and the world.